Drummond, Syracuse, JD, NFL, and CFL, great at the running back position. They say that a running back lasts 2 or 3 years professionally. How many years did you last professionally?
15.
15 years professionally. Uncanny. And you're a champion as well. And Rafael Drummond, the son of Rob and also the future of RAPS. From what you and I have talked about. How are you, Rafael?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So we're here today because here at Pizza Man just a few weeks ago, we were celebrating the girls flag football team. And the flag football team here in Beeville, first year in Section 3, Division I ever for flag football in our community. And the girls flag football team with Kathy Morse as their head coach ends up winning the first ever championship in Central New York history for girls flag football. And I've had the opportunity to speak with them, speak with Liverpool, CNS. So we know that this is an up-and-coming thing in our community, and we know that on Saturday, July 13th, from noon to 2 p.m. at Sunnycrest Park, you're both going to be putting on the RAPS rating combine, where anyone in our community that is playing girls flag football, wants to play girls flag football, is going to have an avenue to test themselves, see where they're at. So you're going to be spotlighting this sport in a way that's never been done before in our community. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for that.
You're very, very welcome.
So, Rafael, I want to start with you on this. Why? Why girls flag football?
Because it's an up-and-coming sport, and in a few years, there's going to be a lot more high schools that are playing this sport. So just having the understanding of, like, with our rating system, what you can get better at and how you can understand, like, yourself. Yeah. I think it's going to be really cool to see it grow with the sport.
And you said, seeing the growth of it, why do you think girls flag football finally happened? I'll go with you first, Rafael. Why do you think it finally happened here?
Because I feel like when a lot of the girls, when they watch football, a lot of the times they're like, oh, I want to play it. Oh, it's so cool. But now there's finally an opportunity for them to play it and to finally be a part of this sport. And they're having a lot of fun with it, too.
Yeah, they're having a great time with it. Rob, for you, we've seen girls flag football in other places. We've seen it in the state of New York, Corning Painted Post, who Baldwinsville went up against in the regionals of this year's playoffs. They've had their team for 3 years, so they've had a little bit longer. So we have seen it in different areas. Why do you think it finally came to Central New York here for Section 3?
It was needed. And first and foremost, I want to say, being a JD high school football player, being a Syracuse University football player, being an NFL football player and a Canadian football player, and being in front of a camera and being on a microphone and being in the media millions of times. This is actually the first interview I've ever done with my son before, and it's pretty interesting and pretty cool. It's just that I never expected it, but it's touching to me right now, because you do things as a parent, to leave a legacy, for your children and for others, that they can grow from and learn from and become better people. And that's one of the reasons when I retired from football in 2003, I said to myself, I became a personal trainer, and I wanted to create an ideology. I wanted to create an idea that helped young athletes, young men and women, understand that through hard work, through dedication, through commitment, through believing in themselves, that they can accomplish anything in life that it is they want to accomplish. You know what? The people fail because they choose to fail. I mean, and by that I mean, it's like if you go out there and you learn as much as you can, you grow as much as you can, you work as hard as you can, and you fail, then you still learn from that, but you can go on. And I wanted to create an idea and create a system that allowed people to pretty much pick my brain. From what I learned, as you said before, or we said before, in my 15 years of professional football and my 4 years at Syracuse University playing high-level Division I college football, how to train, how to work, the psychology of waking up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when the coach doesn't wake you up, but you have to wake yourself up and push yourself. People don't realize to be successful in life, you have to go that extra mile. And I try to teach these kids to be like, you're not as good as you think because you can always be better. If you sit there and you relax on your laurels and you decide that working 1 hour a day, well, trust me, I've been through it before. There's somebody out there who's working 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours a day because they want to be better. never stop learning. I tell these kids all the time that, being a coach at Henniker High School right now in football was a different take from me, because I came from James Wilder High School, which is a suburban school.
Yeah.
And just to see the diversity, in this school, and how kids really don't have the advantages there. I just wanted to give these kids the biggest advantage. And right now, women really need to be put forth in an effort of athletics, because they are just as talented and just as good as us. And the biggest thing, and I say to kids all the time, is that one of the biggest advantages I had in life was leaving college without a college debt.
Yeah.
I have a full academic scholarship at Syracuse University. Syracuse University is almost $93,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's insane. Now imagine, a young woman being able, when Syracuse gets flag football, and they eventually will, being able to go and get an education up there from a school like Newhouse and leaving college debt-free. What a big advantage these young men and women will have. So that was my ideology behind coming up with an idea, 20 years ago, and I finally finished that really would help these kids go out there and be successful in life. I don't want to be remembered as a football player, hopefully in a long time, but the day I passed. I want to be remembered as somebody who went out there, who cared about these young men and women, and gave them an idea to believe in themselves and go out there and work hard and accomplish something to be successful in life.
Oh yeah, like you said, that opportunity that is here now, that opportunity for female athletes that want to play the sport of football, and that's to me, it's exciting. When they wonder, are we going to get enough people, are enough going to get involved, are we going to have enough try out? I talked to coaches here in Central New York that said, we had to turn people away. Like, we had so many people that we did our initial tryouts, and then we had all of these people come in a few weeks in, and it's like, hey, next year, yeah, but we already have what we need and whatnot. I mean, I've been in rooms with these flag football teams here in our community, and you just see the number of girls they'll play volleyball, they'll play basketball, they'll play soccer, they'll play something else, or they gave up a sport. Some of the girls here at Beeville, they gave up doing track so that they could do flag football because they just love it and they have a passion for it. And seeing how quickly it's turned on, how excited people have gotten, because that's the thing that people don't understand is like the stereotype that women don't like football, that they can't play football. You didn't give them an opportunity. If you give them an opportunity, let them do what they want to do and let them go and play this game. And we've seen how competitive it is, how much fun it is. And like you said, your legacy of helping the next person and changing the trajectory of Central and Upstate New York. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here, Rafael. That's why you're here. We could have left, right? You've lived elsewhere. I've lived elsewhere. Raf, you could go live somewhere else. But we're all here because we grew up in Central and Upstate New York. We believe in Central and Upstate New York, and we want there to be opportunities that weren't here before, so that we can see history on the positive side of things. And I love that. And I do want to touch on what you just said, because you and I, over a decade ago, did our first interview. But we've never done one where, like you said, you and your son are here. So, Rafael, what does it mean to you that you and your dad, for the first time ever, making history, doing this together?
This really means the world to me, just being next to him, just like absorbing all the knowledge he has, just understanding like how much he really loves me. Like this means the absolute world to me. And hosting this combine with him, it's going to be a very special experience for us. It's going to be a very positive one.
And you talk about hosting the combine. You and I were talking a little bit off the air. Why for you personally, RAPS? Rob and I have talked about this for so many years, about this rating system, about everything you wanted to do with it, and just the numbers, everything you work into, the equation. I mean, you've sent me sheets of data that you've gone through. So you fell in love with this. You wanted to do something different for athletes all over the world. Rafael, how did you fall in love with it?
So just seeing like how the system works, and not only does it give you a percentile ranking of where you rank from thousands of different combines, but it also you can also tailor a workout based off of your scores and for each individual test. So let's say for women's flag football, you take 5 tests. And with those 5 tests, let's say like you don't do well on one of those tests. You could tailor the workout around that specific test so you can focus on your weaknesses while also being able to maintain your strengths. And that's what RAPS brings to the table. RAPS is not only you can compare yourself to other people, but you can also have the blueprint for success. You can find a way to improve. And that's the part I really fell in love with it, because I understand now, just how good it really is, and how much it can really help the next generation of athletes achieve their dreams.
Do you feel like for you, if this existed 20 years ago, do you think it would have changed the dynamic of sports in general?
Yes.
Because I
firmly
mean,
agree with that.
and Rob, I mean, you and I have discussed this before. The RAPS rating system that you literally created. This is your child. Anywhere, it could show you the country. It can show you the state. It can show you your area, your region. But when you do all these tests and your score comes out, that score is not just, hey, this is what you got. You're really good at running. You need to lift more. You got to. No, it just, you don't hand somebody a sheet and say this is where you're at. You hand someone their results saying this is where you're at, and this is the plan created to take you where you need to go next. I think the biggest part of the RAPS rating system is that it creates a plan and a path forward to make you better, not just simply to test you. And I'd love for you to go more into that.
First of all, the mathematical algorithm is patent, so that's the first thing I got done and came up with. Second of all, it's just in my entire life, being an elite athlete, I'd always would ask myself, what made me an elite athlete? What made me different than others? It's, as far as athletes, I'm part of the 1%, which is I played in the NFL. I got drafted into the NFL draft. Just like NBA players get drafted, hockey players get drafted, basketball, it's the NBA. Baseball players get drafted. I was a part of that elite group. Yeah. And I would always ask myself, what made me different? What made me work harder to be a better athlete or an elite athlete? And it was competition. Yeah. And then I said to myself, it's like, we talked about it before. You look at the history of Syracuse University, and you go, and a running back is, what people don't realize or understand is a running back is measured by yards per carry. At Syracuse University, there's Jim Brown, there's Ernie Davis, and I'm third. I'm third on that list.
Who told you that?
I mean, I didn't know it, but you told me. You reaffirmed it to me.
You're technically second, because if it's 300, if it's all-time yards per carry, Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, you. If it's yards per carry of Syracuse running backs who carry the ball 300 or more times, it's Ernie Davis, Rob Drummond in the entire history of Syracuse football.
And that just, I would have loved with a system like this to be able to compare myself against those guys, against a Floyd Little, against a Larry Zonka, against a Jim Brown, against a Ernie Davis, just to see where my numbers stand and just to see where I rank. Could I have possibly beaten them? I don't know, probably not, but I would have loved to have seen myself, where I rank, so I can challenge myself each and every workout, challenge myself each and every day just to get better. If you don't challenge yourself, you'll never get better. If you stay the status quo, you'll never grow, you'll never get better. It's a different generation now, dealing with these kids. As a personal trainer now for over 30 years, I've said to myself, these kids will go out there, and if they fail, they give up. They don't want to work hard. I remember the first championship game I played, in the Canadian Football League. It's a Super Bowl. It's called the Grey Cup, and we lost to, we lost to Vancouver, British Columbia. And I remember just being so hurt and saying to myself, just feeling numb. And I didn't like that feeling. And I told myself this offseason, I'm never going to let that happen again. I'm going to work as hard as I can. Yeah. And if I fail, I can always get better. The thing kids have to understand that failure doesn't mean failure. Failure means that you can always get better if you work harder to get better. So yep. Don't get out there, if I give you an outline to be successful and you don't follow that outline, then that's on you. Because you're given an outline. You can go with AI right now after taking a RAPS rating test. You don't even need a personal trainer. Just ask the computer what it is. Say you're doing a 60-yard long shuttle. Ask the computer, if I need to get better in a 60-yard long shuttle, what do I do? And the computer will tell you. Yeah. You don't even need to go out there and spend money on a trainer now. So this is the ideology of why I created this, was for people to go out there who may not have a lot of money, who may not have a lot of, avenues to be able to get the information they need to get better, to go out there and do it now. So if you fail now, it's on you. And I want people to really understand that, especially young athletes, especially young male and female athletes.
Well, like you said, and to me it's funny, because when we talk about creating something, you created your business, I created mine, and I feel like Rafael's going to do something in the not too distant future, creating his own something, and I look forward to that. when you create something that is your own and is your baby, when people talk about failure, and I tell people this, I don't think I've ever failed, because everything that got me to where I am today was a lesson. And I don't think an avenue didn't work. I think it was like, okay, if this is not the right software to use to do the broadcast live, let me go find the right one. Oh, this has a glitch in it, let me go find a way around the glitch, or let me adjust to it. Oh, this is a better microphone than that microphone was. But I never considered those things failures. If I mispronounce something, I didn't consider that a failure. I considered to be more prepared, work harder, get there earlier, understand who you're talking to, what you're talking about, learn a little bit more. A few years ago, I wasn't somebody who paid a lot of attention to baseball. I pay more attention now. So you learn and you grow. I don't consider a failure 5 years ago, 3 years ago. I consider myself not as educated, and now I am more educated. So I don't think when you're going after what you want and you're chasing your dreams, you ever fail. I think you learn. I think you grow. I think you challenge yourself. And if you think that life is just going to be putting your feet in a pool and it's going to be 75 degrees and sunny every day, that's not how life works. And you know, I think you have to learn how to navigate through that. You had to learn how to hit a pile and get through it. I had to learn how to walk into a room where the media was traditional media, and I was one of the first people here. I was the first one at Syracuse University to be credentialed as a non-pre-existing company created by me that was on the internet. So I had to represent that. And I had to fight for years just to get in. And now, you know, the internet, it's a normal thing to welcome a podcast in, but I had to break down that door. And Rafael, I mean, you've been through things in your life, adversity in your life, challenges that you've had. You played football, you thought about this is what I want to do, and then you made a decision not to. We've all gone through hitting a wall and saying, are we going to let this wall stop us? Or are we going to push through it? Are we going to go under it, over it, around it? We got to figure it out. And I credit you both for doing what you're doing here coming up in a couple weeks, because you're teaching people how to hit the wall and tell the wall, you don't want me to hit you again. So, Rafael, for you, what can we expect at the Combine? What are we going to see?
So with the 5 tests that we run, you expect it to be like just a very community based.
Yeah.
So like a lot of teams, we want to have a lot of the coaches from the teams involved. We can even have some of the parents involved. We just want the whole community just to come together and just share this experience with these young females that they know they can get better with. And then once they get their scores, they're able to do the work to get better. They're able to reach out to us. They're able to reach out to their coaches. They're able to reach out to their parents. They can ask AI. There's different avenues that they could take. But once they get the scores, that's where the real work begins. They go to the Combine, and then they go to the Combine, and then they take the test. But the real work begins once they leave the Combine and they get their results.
And you know, you talking about that, Drum, you guys were talking off the air about what you're hoping to accomplish at this Combine for girls flag football coming up on Saturday, July 13th from noon to 2 at Sunnycrest Park. I'd love for you to share what the vision is of these tests, why you're doing them, and what an athlete can expect to see, or somebody who's trying to get into the sport for the first time, what they can expect from the Combine.
You know, in all actuality, I want these ladies just to have a sense of purpose to run the Combine. I can read, like, the RAPS rating system, or redefining athletic performance system, was created. I can test for football, basketball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, cheerleading, swimming, any sport you can imagine. I can test for, because it's about measuring athleticism. And when I saw these ladies, I said to myself, here you have ladies who are always marginalized in our society, and they're always put second. And I was like, the first Combine I really want to do on a national level, or local level here in Syracuse, is for the women first, because they deserve to be put front, to put forward first right now. And I want them to understand that you're just as important as these male athletes on TV also. And you can go out there now in the first overall. I already have an idea in my head who the overall the best scorer will be. I'm not going to say where she's from or which school she is, but it's a young lady who I know who's a phenomenal.
I know who you're thinking about.
A phenomenal athlete, and I talked to her dad online and everything all the time, but I was like, I've seen her as a 30-year plus trainer. I've seen her move and everything, and she just I always say to myself, she's different.
Yeah.
She's a different type of athlete, and she will score the highest score. But for someone like that, just to get in front of colleges and get in front of universities, as I said before, it's taken me years and years of going through data, calling college coaches myself, asking them what it is that they look for in athletes, what tests do they do, narrowing it down. I've called over thousands of colleges and universities, from basketball coaches to football coaches to soccer coaches, because in this day and age of email, it's so easy to email a coach and ask them a question and email them back. Yeah. I mean, it carries a lot of weight, believe it or not, when you sit here and say, say to someone in an email or anything, my name is Robert Drummond, I'm a former NFL football player, blah, blah, and immediately people will respond back to you because the stigma of playing a professional sport. They think, okay, this person knows what they're talking about, so they'll, and then I sit there and talk to them a while, and they meet me, and they talk to me and understand that I'm so much more than just a football player. I got a brain and I got knowledge to understand that I want to see people successful also. Yeah. A lot of professional athletes have to learn how to humble themselves. A lot of them don't humble themselves, and I've seen that myself, and I understand that. I'm the type of person who goes out there to want to see everybody successful, especially young kids. We live in a day and age, as I said before, these kids struggling because everything is made so easy for them. This is not made easy for them. You'll be given what you go out there and work for and get. So I'm not going to give you numbers. Your numbers will your numbers will tell you what your score is, and these scores are based off over close to 800,000 to 1 million data of entry that I personally put in myself for every sport. That's why it's taken so long. So you get what you get. Can I help you with it? Of course I can. Will I help you with it? Of course I can. But you got to go out there and work for it. If you want it, it's there for you to seize. If not, then that's on you. Yeah. If you fail in life, don't you ever point the finger at nobody else, because that finger, you better go look in the mirror and point that finger at that person you see right there, because you chose not to be successful.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, it's one of my favorite quotes ever, and it's from Rocky Balboa, where it said, you can't be talking about life that you're where you're at because of him or her. It's because, you have to be willing to go after it. You got to be willing to take the punches. Life is not about how hard you get hit. It's about how many times you can get hit and keep moving forward, how much you can take and keep moving forward, and that's how winning is done. And like I said, not pointing the fingers of him or her because this is where I am because of somebody else. It's not. And when you look at this RAPS rating system, I go back to you and I don't even think the restaurant exists anymore. There's a bunch of different iterations, but downtown by Clinton Square, you and I went to a restaurant a long time ago by Metro Fitness, and we met in the back, and like they had us all the way in the back, this like little cubby area, and we were having lunch, and you talked to me about this system, and you talked to me about what it is, what you want it to be, how the systems that were out there that have been promoted by places didn't even barely touch what you were creating. Why go through all of this effort, all of these years, all this time? Like I said, we've known each other for over a decade. You've been working on it. You're working on it before you met me. So why go through, create this algorithm, take all this data, look at all of these points of entry that you had to put into this, everything you had to think about from day zero to now? Why did you do it?
Because I know what it's like to be successful in life athletically. I know what I felt like when I would walk onto the Carrier Dome and fans cheered for me, especially my last game as a senior when I walked out and they introduced me and the whole dome erupted. I know what that felt like. That gave me pride. That gave me passion. Why do you think I came back here to Syracuse when I retired? I love my city. I love my hometown. And I would do anything to see my town and the people in this town successful. That's why I go out every single day doing things, just to help the community, talking to the mayor, doing things just to see the city of Syracuse successful, especially the young kids. That's why I got into coaching. That's why I coached Rafael when he was a young kid. I said to myself, when he was 5 years old, it's like, you know what? If he's going to learn from somebody who, it wasn't about winning to me. It was about teaching these kids to love the game and have fun with it. And they'll tell you that. So it wasn't about winning. Some of the games we played, I made them play up against bigger kids because I wanted them to get knocked around, because I want you to understand that it's not always going to be easy. I see coaches now that all they care about winning. We're the best team in the city. And it's like, that's not what it's about, because no one cares. Teach these kids to be successful, not just in sports, because it transitions from sports to life also. Yeah. So at the end of the day, everybody's sports career is going to stop. I don't care who you are. My sports career stopped at 36. I played from 5 years old till 36 years old, and football was over. I knew it was time for me to walk away from the game because I didn't love it anymore. Yeah. I love the passion of the game. I love educating kids on how to love this game. And I tell these kids all the time, even in coaching, if you don't love the game, if you don't love something, walk away from it because you'll get bitter in doing it. But if you have a passion for it, if you love it, if you want to get better in it, you'll find every reason to be successful. People who fail find excuses to fail. If you don't want to do it, like people who sit here and say, all right, I might be overweight. I mean, I know I need to get in shape, but they find every reason not to start. Or they will start, and then all of a sudden they stop.
Yeah.
You got to have the passion and drive to want to go out there and make yourself better. Tell yourself, it's like, you know what, it takes 21 days to break a bad habit. It truly, truly does, whatever it may be. Just give yourself 21 days of trying something, and after that, you don't want to do it, you don't have a passion for it.
Yeah.
So I want these kids to understand that I'm giving you an outline to be successful in athletics. It doesn't have to be athletics. This is just for you to compete against somebody. As I said before, I would love to be able to have a sheet that told me that I was slightly, or either Jim Brown or Ernie Davis was slightly more athletic than me. You know how prideful I'd be with that? That's Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, for goodness sake. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And understand that I ranked up close and near to them. A test like this wasn't around, you know, for them, so I never can rank. But I want these kids to be able to say to themselves, who is the best young athlete here in Central New York? I can tell you. You can give me a million athletes, and I can tell you from whatever sport it is, who that best athlete is from a data-driven analytical test.
And you can use this. I mean, you can show somebody in Syracuse of any sport. You could take a swimmer in Syracuse
Doesn't matter the sport.
and show them how they compare to people in Alabama, Florida, Texas, California.
Been getting numbers and data sent to me from college coaches and my friends for the past 20 years.
And it is absolutely incredible I think you are the
Rain Man when it comes to
I was going to say, maybe you might be AI. You might be the artificial intelligence that we're all talking to on the phone right now. So, Rafael, when you look at, we talked about adversity, we talked about getting up and not quitting. Why have you not quit? Why do you keep going? I mean, I've gotten to know you over time. I've gotten to see you, like you're a young kid growing up, to seeing you in high school, running around the dome, to seeing you now as a young man in society. Why have you kept going? What keeps you going?
Honestly, just working hard. Like, I just wake up, like, first thing I wake up is I always just try to work hard at everything I do, no matter what. At work, right now, I always try to be the hardest working person there. In the gym, I'm always going to try to be the hardest working person there. I just like to work. That's just how I'm wired. That's just how I've always been wired. I love it.
Like you said, you like to work. Best piece of advice you ever got, and from who?
This guy right next to me.
What do you say?
He just always told me, like, even ever since I was a little kid, he instilled in me, just work hard at everything you do, no matter what. Anything you love, go for it. Go for it 100 miles an hour.
And so that advice that your dad gave you, I consider, as you know, I consider Rob a brother. And I tell people, it's funny, when I meet somebody new that doesn't know anything about me, I always say, I have a bunch of brothers. I am not going to, after this day, describe to you how to break it down. I said, I am an only child. Don't ask my mom all these kids she got, but I said, I got a bunch of brothers. I will tell you today their names. And from here on out, they're not my fake family. They're not my adopted family. They're not my kind of family. When I say Rob, that's my brother. That's my family. That's what you need to know. So I know what you've meant to me, and I know the impact you've had. But I want to hear from Rafael. What type of dad how would you describe Rob as a dad? I know that he would do anything for you and your brother, but how would you describe what type of father he is?
The best. Like, seriously, like, just him always supporting me no matter what I want to do, no matter the ups and downs, what happens in my life. Him just always just telling me, like, everything's going to be okay, and him just always supporting me, like, giving me a hug no matter what. Him being the best coach ever is really, honestly, shaped me to be the person I am today. And always to be happy, just always to be positive, no matter what. And it's really, and I'm forever grateful for it. I really am.
I know that you got your younger brother, Jaden,
Yes.
who's now taller than you.
Yeah.
6'5", you said, right now? So,
6'5".
so what do we want to say to Jaden? Rafael, I'll start with you. What do you want to say to him?
I can't wait to see you again. I haven't seen you I haven't seen you in a very long time, and I'm very excited to look up at you.
And how many years apart are you guys?
So he is.
Because he's 15.
10 years.
He's 15,
10 years,
and I'm
okay.
25.
Yeah, and that was when I asked you off the air how old he was. In my head goes 15, and then I'm thinking, no, because I remember like him being 6 years old when you and I were talking. So you said you can't wait to see him again.
Yes.
Rob, what do you want to say to Jaden?
Same thing that I tell my children, you know, all the time. It's just like, you know what, just I love you with all my heart, and there's nothing in the world I would do for you, and everything that I do for you when I wake up in the start of a day, you know, is to better your life. You know, I mean, I'm the type of person when I wake up, I have these ideas in my head, and I have to put the ideas that I may put on paper or I may put in my head. I have to get down and, you know, and try and accomplish them, because every day I sit here and I want to make the world a better place. In 1998, after my father was murdered, you know, it sat there and it aided me like, you know, like a sword that was just going to absolutely destroy me. And I said to myself, I can go on one or two paths. You know, I can sit here, you know, and become suicidal. I can sit here and become someone who, you know, internalizes everything and have it destroy me, or I can go out there and work hard, overcome all this, and become the best person, best father, best individual I possibly can, and do things that make this world a better place, regardless of the evil that I saw in this world. And that's the path I chose. You know, so it drives me now. It gives me energy now. It gives me that rage, that anger, that everything is an energy now that fuels me to go out there and do great things and be a good person. Everyone will sit here and tell you that I'm the most humble, just kindest person who goes out there and tries to help anybody as much as I can. Being angry is a waste of time, you know, and it's just something I don't want to do. I want to go out there and I want to change the world to make it a better place. I mean, I don't know how much longer I got. None of us know how much longer we have on this planet. You know, so I want to do the best I can and leave a legacy of helping kids and having them understand it's like, you know what, I got better because of this test that RAPS created, you know, and I thank, you know, the creator of this. You don't even have to mention my name. I could care less about that. I mean, to me, I want to live a quiet life, but I want to live a life that makes a difference by the systems I use and not by a name.
And you obviously mentioned the passing of your father and how difficult and how insane of a situation it is for anybody.
Murder is a monster, you know. Even this past year, just dealing with the fact of, you know, having the old, I won't say young man, but older man now, possibly coming up for parole. You know, and just reading a letter that he sent to the parole board, and just no remorse. You know, no, it's just, it eats at you, and people don't really understand. Anybody who's had to deal with a loved one being murdered, I mean, it's just, whew, it's something that just, there's times where I'll just sit there and cry the entire night because it hurts like hell. It's been 26 years now, and it still hurts like it was yesterday. But you know what? I have to deal with that. I have to find a way to fight through that, because you know why? I have a bunch of people looking at me, a bunch of young kids looking at me that see how strong is Mr. Drummond, and I'm going to be very strong for them. You know what? And I want to see them successful. And I want them to understand that nothing should be able to break you, no matter what it is. Go out there and be a best person, because now, even in this situation now, I can inspire one of them young kids to go out there and they inspire the next kid, they inspire the next kid, they inspire the next kid. You see how that works? You see how that works? Yeah. So that's what you have to be. Sometimes you have to be bigger than the pain within you that may be eating at you. And that's what I choose to do, you know, and I don't mind that. As I said before, I don't know how much time I have. I hope a lot more time to be able to go out there and make a difference. But however much time God gives me, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do the best I can every single day to go out there and make a difference.
And the thing is you love your boys more than anything.
I love my boys more than life itself.
So to know how much you love your father and miss your father, and at the same time to get to be a father, when you look at Rafael, when you look at Jaden, what does that do for you every single day? You talk about helping people and giving it forward, paying it forward, paying it forward. You have an opportunity every single day to wake up and be a dad and be responsible for raising life. What does that mean to you, and how can you represent your dad and how you treat Rafael and Jaden?
It's what I do every single day as a human being. I try and go out there and be the best person I can, because you know why? It's to me, I sit here and say, you know, if I was to go out there and rage out, I was to go out there and do things, you know, that go off a beaten path. You know, a lot of things that children inherit from their parents is genetic. You know, or so if I go out there and decide to become, you know, suicidal in nature, it's going to happen to my boys. If I decide to go out there and have these anger management problems, it's going to happen to my boys. If I decide to go out there and be a good person, that's going to happen to my children. So what I decide to do in life, I know they're watching me, and it's genetically going to be passed down to them. So I have to go out there and be the best person I possibly can be, and that's what I choose to do. I can fight any demons inside me, no matter what it is. It doesn't bother me, you know, because it's a challenge to me. The challenge to me is to see my city, and that city I mean is the city of Syracuse, get better each and every single day. And I'm going to work my damnedest every single day in and day out, to work hard. I tell my children, like I tell the kids I train all the time, no matter what you do in life, don't you ever let anybody outwork you. Don't let anybody outwork you. Always try and go out there and find a way to work harder, be better, and just be a good person. I mean, sitting there talking to Fran Brown, which is funny. He's so much like me, it's crazy. A lot of people don't know that about him. He comes from Camden, and the one thing he said to me before that stuck with me about himself, he wants to see Syracuse so successful because right now, Fran Brown makes a lot of money. He's a millionaire in Syracuse. But he said to me, Robert, I came from poverty. I came from nothing, and now I have something. I want these people to understand that they can have something if you work hard at it and you believe in it. So I'm going to do all that I can for the city of Syracuse, and it's not just a university. Here's a man that's worth millions of dollars, but yet he goes around and picks up trash in the city of Syracuse. I do the same thing. I mean, I'm respectful. I help the older women cross the street. You know, I mean, the other day, which people don't know, I was down at Dr. Martin Luther King, the STEM school in the city of Syracuse, volunteering to go down there and train and work with kids from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock. And these were first, second, third, fourth, and fourth graders. This is of my own time. I give so much of myself, not because I want anything in return, but because it's the right thing to do. And that's what, and I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, but that's what my God would want. You give up yourself, and the blessings you get back one day will always be 10 times full. And that's what I want my children to understand, and that's what I want my children to inherit.
You know, I always think I can't love you more like a brother, but I always do, every day. I can't believe it's been over 10 years, but the type of human being that you are is incredible. And you know, you've carried me so many times. You've taken those wings and flown me out of stuff more times than I can count. Rafael, for you to have this, right, to have this experience, I want to be a dad someday. You know, I got my pup and Rob. Rob knows I'm Lily's dad, but you have your dad here, and you get to see that, celebrate that. You get to affect this community together. You get to do things together. You get to sit here together. What does that do for you, that the man that taught you is the man that you're doing interviews with, it's the man you're going to be doing a combine with? Not everybody gets to do this with their parents.
I thank God every day for this when I wake up. It's one of the first things I do is pray. And I just thank God that this man is just honestly the best. He's the best. He really cares about me. He really cares about this community with an open heart. And I love it. And I'm really excited for what the future holds for us.
I think we're trying to make Rob cry today.
I mean, since he was a baby, since he was able to talk, since he walked on the phone, I always leave my sons with the conversation is like, I love you. He always says, I love you, son, because you know what? I may never get a chance to ever tell him that again. It's like, it hurts me that the last conversation I had with my father is just like, you know, granted, I love my father, but I wasn't able to tell him I love him because of his macho attitude, guys are too cool with that. No, if you love somebody, tell them in your conversation with you love them, because you never know when you see them again. Tomorrow's not promised. You know, we could walk outside these doors right now and something could happen. We all could be killed. So let that person know that you love them. It's okay. That's a sign of love is a sign of strength. Yep. And strong people understand that. Weak people don't. So it's easy to pick out weak people who are afraid to say that. I love all my friends. I love all my family. I love my children, all my heart. And I don't care who knows that, because that makes me strong. You think I'm weak? No, I'm not. I'm one of the strongest people you ever meet.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Every time you and I talk, whether it's 2
bro.
minutes or 2 hours, it's always love you, bro. Yeah. And you're the only person in my life. I feel like if somebody else did this, I'd be like, nah, that's for Rob. You're the only person that calls me kid. So it's always love you, bro, love you, kid, every single time.
But that's a sign of affection.
Right. And the thing is as a kid growing up, it was weird, right? It was weird for a guy to tell another guy, I love you. That's how I was told. But I was like, hey, if I love somebody, man, woman, child, I don't care. I'm going to tell them that I love them. That's who I am. And I do agree with you. Love is a sign of strength. Weakness are the people that can't say I love you, can't show their feelings, can't be emotional, can't show that something bothered them, because when you have the capacity to love and you risk putting it out there, you risk being vulnerable, the toughest thing in the world to do is love. I shouldn't say the toughest thing in the world to do. The most vulnerable thing in the world to do is love. The biggest thing you can give is love. It's got the biggest reward, but when you have a big heart and you put it out there, you can get hurt, but that's why we talk about strength, because people that love hard, we hurt, we come back, we do it again. You know, they say it all the time. Look out for those people that every time anything happens to them, they bounce back, because those are God's people. And, you know, you guys talking about God, talking about love, talking about faith, talking about community and being together, I know who you are and I know what you mean to me. But Rafael, out of everything I posted in the last couple days, I posted a picture of Jesus yesterday, and I said, this is why I do it. And you were the first person to like that. And
Yes, sir.
It's that who we are, the depths of who we are, the faith, the love, the community, the humility, the desire of not Dan Tortora and Rafael Drummond and Rob Drummond did this, but that we help somebody and go, hey, don't come to us and pay us, you know, don't come here and say, oh, I owe you this and I owe you that and I got to talk about you and I got to talk about that. No, if we did something for you, then go do something for somebody else, and then hope that that person goes and does something for somebody else. Because people say that hate travels, negativity travels, but positivity and love travels just as fast. We just got to have more people doing it.
Me personally, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I want to see this. I want to see everyone in the city successful. You know, I people don't understand what it meant to me, you know, to play at Syracuse University for 4 years, play in the Carrier Dome, you know, and just to walk out, you know, and just turn around and see, you know, and see people who didn't know me but just knew me as a football player, you know, cheering me on, telling me it's going to be okay, giving me encouragement, just believing in me, never letting me getting down on myself. I mean, and it wasn't just games, it was practices also. Coach Mack allowed the entire city to come to practice. And what they really don't know and understand is how much that inspired a young athlete like myself. So I tell these young kids when they're coming out sometimes, you get a chance to go to Syracuse, it's such an experience. You'll find out, you know, like this city loves you because I always came back, I gave to the community. I always go to schools and speak. I just came from an event, you know, a charity golf event, you know, for the NFL, but there were people there, but it's like, you got to give up yourself, you know, to understand, to get back. And by get back, I don't mean the monetary things like gifts and money and things of that nature, but you get back the feeling of pride. I have so much pride in my city. I mean, it may not be perfect. What is perfect? You know what? But it's a city that, you know, where I was born. It's a city I was raised. It's a city I'll be buried. And it's a city I'm proud of to call home. This is home. Whenever I get down, whenever I get sad, whenever I get mad, whatever, I know I'm home. And I have friends and family here who care about me enough to be able to say, Robert, it's going to be okay. But, I mean, it's not going to stop me from being a hard worker. It's not going to stop me from being a person I am each and every single day. I'm still going to go out there and rep my city as much as I can with pride. But it's a place I call home, and home is a safe place for me.
And there's something about getting to travel. And people say, why? If you lived in Florida, and Florida's the second hub of my company, and I worked really hard for that. And Florida's my second home. But people say, why did you come back here? And I said, I get to live in the best of both worlds. I get to see the world, and at the same time, I get to sleep in a bed in my community with my people. And no matter where I go, when I land in Syracuse, I get this I get this feeling inside of my bones. I get this feeling in my arms. You get that chill. I get excited. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it's sunny. I don't care if it's morning or afternoon or nighttime. When I land in Syracuse, people are like, you just came back from Disney. Why are you happy to be back here? You just came back from Cowboys Stadium. Why are you happy to be back here? For me, when I come back to Syracuse, and I always go back to this Macklemore line, he says, I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. And it's about the community. It's about knowing the people. And I tell people that all the time. Like, we do the show here with the Baldwinsville Bees. We do a West Genesee show. We do a CNS show. We work with CBA and ESM. We have a show with Liverpool. And when you do this and you get to know the kids, I don't get to know the kids. I get to know the kids, the grandparents, the parents, the aunts, the uncles, the brother, the sister, the girlfriend, the boyfriend. And before you know it, the world is so tiny. And you go down to Boca to the Syracuse's bowl game, and I covered a kid at Lemoyne, and here comes this family, and I've never been to Boca Raton. I've been all over Florida, and I'm in Boca, and I'm standing outside of FAU Stadium, and I started covering FAU a few years ago, and this guy walks up with his family, and he goes, "There's Dan Tortora," and I was like, I'm in Boca Raton. Like, well, who is this guy? He said, "This is the roommate of the kid that you interviewed on Lemoyne's team. And we watched the show. We love what you do for Lemoyne. We love the connection that you give and the fact that you put a spotlight on. And we really wanted to meet you. And when we saw that the bowl game was going to be in Boca, we thought you would be here. We hope we ran into you, and this is what happened." And that's how tiny the world becomes when you help people. It's how beautiful the world becomes when you help people, because you get to see somebody come back and go, like, I get to walk into a Wegmans and have someone say, "My granddaughter was on your show 3 weeks ago, and I've never heard her talk that much. You got her out of her shell. I loved hearing her story." And I can still go back to the day we met, where we met, the golf tournament we were at, the interview that we did, my equipment that I had with me, the fact that it was at night, and I walked out going, I like that guy. Something about that guy. I feel like we could be friends. Just a good guy. And I called you like the next day, and I said, I was like, I don't know, I like you. I think you're an awesome person. I walked out thinking I really like this guy. We click, and you said, yeah. You were like, I walked out of there going, I like him. I don't like the media, but I like that guy, and I like talking to you. And our friendship literally started from the two of us going, that's a real dude. He's honest. I could trust him. I like him. And that was 11, 12 years ago. But you think about when you have an opportunity to affect somebody's life, you can affect it positively, you can affect it negatively, but it can last forever. And being around you and seeing you grow up, like, I'm happy to get to know you now with you being back here, because you've been out of town for a little while when you went to Alfred and whatnot. But, Rafael, for you, and I tell Rob this all the time, I'm like, you're welcome at the house, your kids are welcome at the house, Trish is welcome at the house. Like, there's something to be said about really good people, and your dad's here right now, and you're going to live your legacy, and I hope you're here for a long, long time, because we all need you to be. But no matter what, you're already representing the family well, and you're going to continue to do that. So to me, it's like, soak up these moments when you guys are doing this together and helping the community together. And I implore every girls flag football student athlete and everyone who wants to get into it that maybe hasn't done it before, come to this combine Saturday, July 13th, Sunnycrest Park in Central New York from noon to 2. You don't have to do any early sign-ups. You could sign up right at Sunnycrest on the day on Saturday, July 13th, because you're not going to find two better people, two more caring people, and a father and son duo that anybody should run through a wall for. So thank you for what you're doing, truly.
Thank you very much for having me on the show for the 9,972 time.
Thank you very much for having me on the show for the first time.
And I got to say this before I let you guys go. Just a message that you want to say to girls flag football. Rafael, I'm going to start with you.
Honestly, so I play flag football myself. And I think it is one of the most fun things ever, because it's way different than tackle football. To pull the flag, people don't realize how hard it is to pull those flags. It's like having that understanding of it. It takes a lot of hand-eye coordination to get that flag off. Because I can, the countless times that I've whipped the flag.
Yeah.
So so to all the girls out there that even before the combine, go on YouTube and look up some flag football drills. Look up so there's a move called the dip in particular, where you're running, and then you just dip low. Impossible to pull the flag. So I say this: go on YouTube and just start looking up some drills. Like there's also a quarter spin. So it's like if somebody's trying to pull the flag, and then you just turn your hips just a little bit, they're missing. So that's my piece of advice to all the women out there.
Yeah, little nuances we were talking about before the show. Rob, what do you want to say to girls flag football enthusiasts and those that are looking to come out to the combine?
Where do I start? First of all, I mean, my whole ideology, and I told you and him also, is I wanted to start with women's first, whether it be women's or girls I'll say women's basketball, women's lacrosse, women's soccer, women's flag football. We should not disregard them, and they're just as important. They deserve every opportunity and every chance to be successful in life as we men do also.
Amen.
I created this test based off of not just my athleticism, but my psychologies, my ideologies, my mannerisms, my work ethic, everything that I can incorporate within myself. I wrote down, and I somehow came up with a mathematical algorithm that put it all into one. It's just that if you see yourself not as good against a group of people, then you have to go out there and get better. And if I'm giving you the outline to get better and you fail, who are you going to point the finger at? So young ladies, it's on you. It's as I said before, if you don't have the money, to go out there, after getting a test score, then just go to the public library. The public library is free. And as I said before, you can ask AI about the test. AI, I didn't do good at this test. What exercise did I do? Yeah. So now you can get free information. So if I'm giving you free information based off of my ideology about training and everything of that nature, because like you said before, AI thinks like me. It truly does. I typed in some scores before on AI, basically what I was thinking, and it came back what I was thinking. And I was like, yikes, that's scary. Here it is. Took me 20 years, and AI does it in a second. Mm-hmm. But I just want them to go out there, and understand and have a good time. And as you said, I've already called and emailed all the college coaches and everything that offer that offer scholarships for flag football, women's flag football, and a lot more are going to come to the table. And of course, they're going to reach out and talk to me. I'm a former professional athlete. They always will, and I've been a trainer for 30 years. So if I see that you're athletic enough, and I see that you're a good person, and I see you have good grades and things of that nature, I'll do everything to give you an outline to be successful, because that's just who I am. Yeah. I want to see everybody successful. I've been successful in life, and I know what that feels like. It feels good. You don't go out there and hurt anybody. You don't go out there and be a bad person. You don't go out there and be narcissistic. You don't go out there and be, just the worst person in the world. You always go out there and do positive things when you've been blessed in life like I have been. And I'm very thankful. I love my children, so I want to leave them a legacy around. At the end of the day, all I want is when I'm gone, is my kid to say I was proud of my dad. That's all I want out of life.
He's already said that tonight.
I know, but it's not going to stop me from going out and being the best person I possibly can be. But that's all I want. Both my children say that.
Yes, and I'm proud of you. And I will say that always and always.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. God bless. So we always play rapid fire, and we're making history tonight because we made history on the show a million times, you and I. And now and I think this is so cool because you and I have gotten to, in my career, a lot of the history that I've made has been with you, Rob. And now with you and Rafael, I didn't know that this is the first time you guys have ever done an interview together, so I feel very spoiled, and I thank God for this. So we're going to play some rapid fire. You know what it's about. We can put each other on the hot seat. Any question in the world. Can be football-related, sports-related, music, movies, TV, anything. Food, pastimes. Ex-girlfriends, I'm kidding.
Please, Lord, no.
But it can be literally anything. So, Rafael, you get to ask me the first question.
Hardest hit?
He's asking me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's going to ask me first.
Hardest hit you've ever took any level?
Oh.
Asking Dan, not me. Asking Dan or me?
I'm asking you.
Oh.
Asking me? Hardest hit I've ever took?
Oh, I was asking.
Okay, go ahead. You can answer.
You're asking me? Ooh, ouch. Hardest hit I've ever taken any level. It's got to be from Ronnie Lott. I was running a dig route, and Ronnie Lott came running up. He said he read the play and he knocked me unconscious. So it was my rookie year with the Eagles. Hardest hit I ever took. He cracked my helmet.
I'm throwing out all my Ronnie Lott cards now. All right, Rafael, what's your question for me?
My question for you?
Yes, sir.
What made you want to fully get into broadcasting?
It's a lot of things. I love telling stories. I like making people laugh. I like learning about people. I like my world being small in a positive way. I wanted to put my stamp on things and make a positive mark, show people that you can be positive every day. I think if people knew when I walked into the studio over the last almost 21 years, the days where physically I was, sick, maybe sore throat, didn't feel good, sinus infection, whatever, or if I just went through something tough or somebody passed away, if you knew everything behind like turning that microphone on. But I would turn that microphone on to this day. And it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter what I'm going through. It doesn't matter what's on my mind. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I will stay up out 16 hours, out 20 hours. It doesn't matter. I'll travel in the middle of the night. But when people say, why do you do it? Why did you want to do this? I've always been a storyteller since I was 5 years old on my dad's word processor, which is in my office now to remind me where I started. And I love telling stories. I love talking to people, making my world small in a really positive way. And Rob, you know, I mean, I love making people laugh. I love seeing people smile. So if I can tell a story, and I have a photographic memory. I've collected cards my whole life, and I would look at a card, flip it over, and I'd just be sitting at the dinner table spewing off this stuff to my parents, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about it anyways. I have a passion for it. I played sports growing up, love basketball to this day, play flag football, all these things I love to do, coach soccer. So to me, it's just in my bones that I really honestly believe that if you speak to the world with a pure heart and good intentions, you can change it. And I'm going to do something before I'm done. So I got into it because I love people, I love God, I love chasing my dreams. And I'm going to stay in it because I love people, I love God, and I'm chasing my dreams. So when people say, when are you going to retire? I said, when the good Lord takes me home. But I'm not retiring. When I, God willing, go to heaven, I want to go up there and go, all right, God, where's the studio? What do you need me to do now? Like, how are we going to do this? Or my question for you, we've done this more than probably anybody. My question for you, Drum, okay, I'm going to ask you this because you're wearing it. You got the bucket hat or the fisherman's cap. You have your Eagles one. I have my U.S. Army one. Shout out to Isaac Alford for that. I have a Jaguar. I have a Disney one from back in the day. It was one that my mom bought way back. So I love the bucket hat. Isaac has got his SU one, his Army one. He wears it. You wear it. I was ridiculed growing up because I was the only one that wore it. In 38 years, I know you, me, Isaac. Why the bucket hat? And tell everybody that if nobody can rock it, at least the three of us can.
In all honesty, you know, I mean, I just wear the hat because one, it's just a hat, and I'm not someone who's big into fashion and things of that nature. I'm not someone who's big into what people think about me wearing clothing and things of that nature because that's not matter. It's not what's on the outside; it's what's on the inside. On the inside, I'm a good person, and I know I'm a good person. So what I look like on the outside really doesn't matter. You can see a homeless person, you know, and they would do everything in the world for you. And you can see somebody with a, you know, multi-million-dollar suit on that would do absolutely nothing for you. So it's not about your apparel and what you're wearing. That's just something that's covering you. It's about what's inside the person. And what's inside me means nothing about what's on the outside of me. So, I mean, Trish tells me this all the time. He's like, you dress homeless sometimes. I was like, but it doesn't matter. But I don't have a homeless soul. My soul will do anything else in the world for anybody. So yeah. I just wear this because I'm very prideful of my Eagles. I'm very prideful. I played in the NFL. I mean, and they're just clothes. They just cover the man. That's all they're doing. Adam and Eve were, you know, loincloths. And, you know, and
I know.
Them, you know.
That was the first acting job I did, and they said, you're going to be Adam. You're going to have to be almost naked. And I said, cool. I'm going to be right in front of my parents and my girlfriend's parents, and it's going to be a lot of fun for me. But I did it.
We get caught up in a society that's so materialistic, and I'm just not that type of person. I mean, it doesn't matter what I wear. You know, all it is just the covering is to cover my body to protect me. But that's why I wear bucket hats and things of that nature, because it's not what somebody else feels. It's how I feel.
Yeah, I think we need to start a hashtag for you, Isaac, and I called Bucket Hat Boys.
There you go.
I like that. But yeah, will you rock one, Rafael? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Then we got to add you to the fray as well. Got to get a picture with all of us doing that. But yeah, I mean, what you were going off of, it made me think about. I sat in first class years ago, and I was wearing a Darkwing Duck shirt. I love Darkwing Duck. My favorite characters growing up. Still love Darkwing Duck. Got to interview the guy who created him, Tad Stones. Talked to over 5,000 people in the sports world. Don't get starstruck. Like a couple people where you're like, wow, you know, like Doug Flutie, because he's like, you know, he's just like an everyday Joe. But when I interviewed Tad Stones, I remember sitting in my old studio, and the person I was with at the time, she walked by the studio, and I was like, babe, I literally shut the mic off, and he hung up the phone, and I said, I just interviewed the creator of Darkwing Duck, and she didn't say anything. And I was like, babe, it was Darkwing Duck. And she's like, yeah, and I was like, I'm shaking right now, but I'm shaking, but I'm not moving. You know what I mean? Like inside my body, I was like totally moved by the fact that like this childhood character that I love, I talked to this guy, and he was like the nicest guy in the world, and just moments like that. So I'm wearing the Darkwing Duck shirt, fast forward, and I'm sitting in first class, checkered shorts, Darkwing Duck shirt, and I come into first class and I see these guys in suits and dress shirts and all that, dress pants, and they look at me, and I'm just like looking through their eyes, seeing in their head the thoughts of like, who's this guy up here? Like, what type of charity case? Like, who let him sit up here? He doesn't belong up here. And I was like, they don't know that I'm a business owner. They don't know how much money I make in my life. They don't know what I do. And the joke's on them, because 10 years from now, I'm going to wear checkered shorts, sweatpants, whatever, Darkwing Duck shirt, because you are who you are. And like you said, the money doesn't make the man or the woman. The clothes doesn't make the man or the woman. At the end of your life, your currency is your soul. And when you hand that soul to God, and he downloads that into the computer and watches that, you get to watch it back, that's the currency that gets into heaven. Not your money, not your cars, not how many people you this and how many people you that. Your currency is your soul, and it's how you affected people's lives. So shout out to bucket hats, sweatpants, and Darkwing Duck shirts, because it don't make the man. And you know that, and I know that.
No, it does not at all. I mean, as I said before, I mean, I'm just a... and I say this funny, you know, to get to know me. I mean, so many people that have first met me and have met Robert Drummond, the football player, are shocked to actually meet Robert Drummond, the human being, because they're two entirely different people. I don't even talk about it. I don't even know who Robert Drummond, the football player, is. He's just somebody who lined up on the football field, just ran around there and scored touchdowns and had fun.
Yeah.
Robert Drummond, the human being, is someone who loves, who laughs, loves his kids, who does anything for anybody, who will go to any event, who will help you as much as he can. And that's what people don't see, and that's what I want people to see from me. I'm not a football player. I'm a human being that, like, you know, that played football, that had fun, that now just wants to go out there and help as many people be successful as I can before my time is up.
Using it as a vehicle to help the community.
That's all I want to do.
This coming up Saturday, July 13th, noon to 2 at Sunnycrest Park. For anyone who wants to get involved in girls flag football here in our community, don't have to worry about signing up ahead of time. You can sign up at the event Saturday, July 13th. My question for you, Rafael.
Yes.
All right, Rafael, I'm going to go to food, because I was eating on the way here. I made myself a salad. I've been eating a lot of salad lately and want to have my healthy meal, and not an easy thing to eat in the car. So I got to ask you this, Rafael. Breakfast, lunch, dinner for the rest of your life. 3 meals. 1 breakfast, 1 lunch, 1 dinner. It could be anything. It could be multiple things at a time. But what are you eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for the rest of your life?
So breakfast, I gotta go with, I would say, my 6 eggs, oatmeal, and then a thing of avocado toast.
Okay. All
Yep.
healthy right there. 6
Yes.
eggs. All right. Now, are the eggs, or are you like drinking them like Rocky? Or what are you
Scrambled.
doing? Scramble. Okay.
Scrambled.
All
Yeah,
right.
put some cheese in them.
Okay. All right. I can roll with that. 6 eggs. 6 eggs.
Yes.
What's for lunch?
For lunch,
I'll have 3, but I'm gonna try to have 6 now.
this one's tough. The breakfast was easy.
Yeah.
This one's tough. I do love my Chipotle.
Okay.
I really do. I might have to, for lunch, I might have to rock with that.
Okay. What at Chipotle? By the way, being a card-carrying Italian and Hispanic, when people talk with me about what's more authentic between Moe's and Chipotle, I always say to them, when you go into a Chipotle, and this is no offense to anybody or anybody name this, have you ever gone into a Chipotle and not have someone named John or Beth help you? It's not authentic. It is not, and you don't hear the bop, 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 bop. You don't hear that music in the background. You don't hear anybody swearing in a different language. It's not authentic. So that's not a knock on Chipotle, but authentic cuisine in the Hispanic world in Central and Upstate New York. There's a few places that got some things going on, but I'm still waiting for somebody to come here and make me feel like I'm transported to a country somewhere else. And that's not to knock anybody that's tried, because there is some good food in our community. But when people say Moe's and Chipotle, which one is more authentic? Rob knows my answer to that. I talked to you about how I feel about that. No offense to either one of them. Good establishments, appreciate them, all respect in the world. But authenticity, y'all know what that's like getting a meatball sub at Subway and saying that it came from some Italian mom. Like that, come on now. So lunch is Chipotle. What are you getting at Chipotle?
I'm getting a chicken burrito with, I actually know my exact order. White rice, pinto beans, chicken, a little bit of medium sauce, extra cheese, guac, and queso.
Okay. It's almost the same as mine, because I get the chicken burrito if I do go there. All right. Dinner.
Dinner, steak and potatoes.
Okay. Very simple.
Yep.
Oh.
Very simple. I'll usually try to add like a little like protein shake to it, or like a little like
Okay.
little fruit smoothie to it.
Okay. Well, with this being history in the making, and no small moment here that it's the first interview you guys have ever done together, and I'm going to keep this as a time capsule forever, and thank you for letting me do this, but I'm going to take a back seat here, and it's only fair that if you're going to make history together, that you get to put each other on the hot seat in father and son rapid fire, and I get to watch with the rest of the world on YouTube, Facebook, worldwide, Podbean, worldwide, internet radio, and people here at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville. Rob, please put your son on the hot seat. What's up, Cookie? What's up, sir? Yeah, what's up?
As I said before, you know,
How are you?
with my father being murdered and everything, and, you know, me just sitting there sometimes, you know, just with so many questions and so many things that, you know, I mean, I would love to ask him if you were here. You know, if I weren't here right now, what would be something that you've never asked me you'd want to know? If I wasn't here right now, like me personally, I mean, there's so many things that I miss with your grandfather, my father, not being here anymore. There's so many things in life that I would love to be able to ask him right now that I can't. You know, there are some certain things in life that you need to know. Like, you know, what would be one that you would ask me?
Honestly, that's honestly why I call you all the time.
Yeah, you do. Oh my God.
Every question. It's like if I
Good Lord. That, he's not lying about that. My phone rings constantly. I tell.
if I want something, I'm gonna get it.
Good Lord. I mean, I tell Trish is like, that's Rafael again. Like, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So you don't have a question that you haven't asked?
Honestly,
Well, let me make sure you get there.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's a very tough thought just to think about right now, because I'm gonna enjoy every single moment we have on this earth together. Every single moment, no matter what, and just like. And just being like able to do this with you, and being able to grow this with you, and being able to learn this from you, it just really means the world to me.
It's awesome. Put your dad on the hot seat.
I was gonna say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but I'm gonna go with something original here.
Okay.
Trying to think.
Anything in the world.
In your football career, what would you say out of all your championship games was your toughest? Like, what would you say out of all your championship games? What would you say was your toughest game?
The toughest game you ever have to play is the mental game you play with yourself. So every single game that I ever played in the championship was tough for me. You know, I mean, if you're talking about physicality, I mean, the most physical game I ever played in really would have to be, I don't know, which game? I mean, they're all the same, because I was a physical player myself. So, I mean, I was the hammer, not the nail. So I dealt out the punishment myself. But I mean, like now, physical, I never even worried about that. But you know, it's just the emotional games, the ones that meant the most. were the ones that, that not that we won, that I went up there and gave 110%, and played within myself and played with a bunch of my, I call my brothers because my teammates are my brothers, and we went out there and whether we won or not, we just gave 110%. And that's all you got to do in everything, and not just in football games, but in life's awful. And life also. Go out there and give it 110%. And if you fail, you can always go back to the drawing board and repeat yourself. If you're not, you're successful. It's a championship, but you can always get better.
And also, with playing football in Canada, you played in some pretty cold temperatures. What was the coldest game you've ever played?
It was minus 47 in a championship game in it was 20. Oh my gosh, no, it was 1997. We played in Edmonton, Alberta. We played in the Grey Cup against Saskatchewan. And I kick off, it was like minus 40 something with the wind chill. It was unbelievable.
That's insane. That's like Dakota weather, North Dakota and all that.
It was brutal, absolutely brutal.
Negative 47 degrees Fahrenheit.
It was brutal, yes.
That's insane.
It was unreal.
That's insane. All right, so you get to ask your son one more since he asked you that one.
Let me think. Okay. What do you think the most? Ooh. After having me coach you, having me be your dad, and that nature, what do you think is the most positive thing you possibly could have learned from me? And it doesn't have to be sports related. It doesn't have to be, school related. It doesn't, because I've taught you a ton. But what do you think the thing that you remember the most about that you learned from me? Is what I'm trying to ask.
Honestly, like whatever I want to do in my life, you just were fully supportive of it, no matter what. I mean, even though I'm not playing football right now, I like it because it's like I'm my own person. I'm creating my own legacy, and I always know that it's like I have the 100% support of you, no matter what I do.
I told him he didn't want to play football. He was fine with me. I'm not one of those fathers that push my children to do something that they didn't want to do. I don't have to live vicariously through my children. I wanted them to do whatever they wanted to do to make them happy. I tell everybody, from Trish to his mother, Rafael, to Jaden, to everybody. At the end of the day, you'll be successful in life if you're just happy. Just be happy. Be happy. Find a way to be happy. If it's not making you happy in your life, get rid of it.
So many things to say, so many things to learn. You can learn from both of these gentlemen, Rafael Drummond and Rob Drummond. You can see them at Sunnycrest Park in Central New York, Saturday, July 13th, for the first ever girls flag football combine in this community. Saturday, July 13th, sign up on site at Sunnycrest from noon to 2 p.m. A big time shout out to the Baldwinsville Bees, who won the first ever Section 3 Division I title and sat here with me on stage. Shout out to all of the teams that competed this year, and the time I got to sit down with Liverpool Warriors as well as the CNS North Stars. It's great to see girls loving football. It's great to see them playing this game, and we are so spoiled to have the girls we have in this community playing flag football. We look forward to seeing you all out on site, on location, Saturday, July 13th, noon to 2 p.m., Sunnycrest Park in Central New York. For now, and I don't know how to say goodbye because I love both of these guys. Rafael Drummond, Rob Drummond, family to me, great people in our community, making history today, doing their first interview ever at the same time, father and son, making that history at Pizza Man Pub here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you. Find us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on all the channels you're on right now. And as we always leave you, God bless, no stress, do your best. Love you. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate you. Love you. Appreciate you. Go and see them, and remember, you can do anything you set your mind to. Let those dreams be big. Let your reality be even bigger. We appreciate you. Thanks to Pizza Man and the Delia family for Wake Up Call and for the Drummond family.
What's that?